There's a reason some people ask for things you never expected. It's not because they need it, it's because they're testing you. Not all asks are equal. Some are warning signs. Some are a glimpse into the future if you keep them around. So today, I want to share with you 7 things that, when people ask for them, should make you stop, think, and maybe even walk away. Not every request is as innocent as it seems. Sometimes when people ask for something, they are not just asking for a favor, they are making a transaction in disguise. These transactions are rarely balanced, and more often than not, they cost you more than you realize. Some people are skilled at making their requests seem small, harmless, or even natural, but beneath the surface, there is always a hidden cost. The challenge is recognizing it before it's too late. Think about the last time someone asked you for something that made you uncomfortable, but you felt pressured to say yes. Maybe they needed your time, your effort, your energy, or your silence. Maybe they framed it as a small thing, something that shouldn't be a big deal, but afterward, you felt drained, uneasy, or even used. That feeling is not a coincidence. It is your mind trying to tell you that the cost was higher than you expected. The problem is that most people don't stop to evaluate the cost before they agree. They don't ask themselves, what am I giving up? What is this going to take from me? Is this fair, or am I being manipulated? Instead, they say yes out of obligation, fear, or guilt. And once they say yes once, it becomes harder to say no the next time. The hidden cost increases, and before they know it, they are trapped in a cycle of giving while the other person continues to take. Some people ask for things not because they need them, but because they want to see how much control they have over you. A request is not always about the request itself. It is sometimes about testing the limits of what they can get away with. If they can take your time today, they will take your energy tomorrow. If they can make you feel guilty today, they will make you feel responsible tomorrow. They are not asking for a favor, they are laying the groundwork for control. The most dangerous requests are the ones that seem the most reasonable. I just need a little of your time. Can you do this one thing for me? It's not a big deal. But over time, these small things add up. A little of your time becomes a lot of your time. One favor becomes 10. A single compromise becomes a pattern of self-betrayal. And the scariest part, you don't even realize it's happening until you feel exhausted, resentful, and stuck. But the worst requests are the ones that come with emotional strings attached. Some people don't just ask for things, they attach emotions to their requests. They ask you for something, and if you hesitate, they make you feel guilty. I thought we were friends. I would do this for you. You're the only one I can count on. And just like that, the request is no longer about what they are asking for. It becomes about your character, your loyalty, your kindness. It puts you in a position where saying no makes you feel like a bad person, so you say yes even when you don't want to. This is where people lose themselves. They become so afraid of disappointing others that they forget to protect themselves. They say yes because they don't want to lose a friend, but in the process they lose their own peace. They agree to things that hurt them because they don't want to be seen as selfish. But the truth is, they are not being selfish. They are being drained, and the people who truly care about them would never put them in that position in the first place. Recognizing these hidden costs requires a shift in mindset. It requires you to stop before you say yes and ask yourself a simple question. What is the real cost of this request? If it takes away your time, your peace, your values, or your self-respect, it is too expensive. The right people will never ask you to pay that price. The wrong people will make you feel like you have no choice. The good news is you do have a choice. You can say no. You can set boundaries. You can recognize when a request is not just a request, but a manipulation. And most importantly, you can surround yourself with people who value you enough to never ask you for something that costs you more than you can afford to give. So the next time someone asks you for something, pause, think, look beyond the words and into the cost, because some requests come with a price that is far too high to pay. There are moments in life when a simple request is not so simple. It's not just about what they're asking for, it's about what that request reveals. Some people don't ask because they need, they ask because they want to see how much they can take. The moment they make the request, they expose something deeper about who they are, what they value, and how they see you. Pay attention to what people ask of you. Some requests are innocent, genuine, and rooted in mutual respect. But others, they are subtle tests. They are unspoken challenges. They are silent traps. And once you recognize them, you'll never see people the same way again. Think about the last time someone asked you for something that didn't feel right. Maybe it was small, a favor, a loan, a promise. Maybe it seemed harmless at first, but deep down, something in you hesitated. Not because you weren't willing to help, but because the way they asked made you question their intentions. That feeling, that's your instinct trying to warn you. Because sometimes the request itself isn't the problem. It's what it tells you about the person making it. When someone asks for blind loyalty, they are not looking for a friend. They are looking for control. Loyalty is something that is built over time through trust, respect, and shared experiences. But there are people who demand it without earning it. They expect you to stand by them no matter what, even when they are wrong, even when they hurt you, even when you know in your heart that they don't deserve it. The moment someone asks for unquestioning loyalty, they reveal their true intention. They don't want a relationship, they want dominance. Then there are those who ask for your silence. These are the ones who make mistakes, who cross lines, who do things they know are wrong, and then expect you to stay quiet about it. They don't want you to be honest. They want you to be complicit. They want you to protect them, not because they deserve protection, but because they don't want to face the consequences of their actions. And the moment someone asks for your silence, they reveal exactly who they are. A person who does right doesn't need you to keep secrets. A person with integrity doesn't need to ask you to look the other way. Watch for the ones who ask for your forgiveness but never change. They apologize, they make promises, they ask for another chance, but deep down, they have no intention of being different. They don't want to be better, they just want you to forget. And the moment they ask for your forgiveness without making any real effort to grow, they reveal their real motive. They want permission to keep doing what they've always done without consequences. Then there are those who ask for your dreams. The ones who tell you to slow down, to rethink, to play small. They don't say it directly, but their words carry weight. Are you sure you can do this? Maybe you should be more realistic. Isn't this too risky? They ask you to shrink, to doubt yourself, to abandon your vision. Not because they care, but because your ambition makes them uncomfortable. The moment someone asks you to let go of your dreams, they reveal what they truly think. They don't believe in you. And if they don't believe in you, why should you waste your energy proving them wrong? The most dangerous request of all is when someone asks you to change who you are to make them more comfortable. These are the people who tell you to be less bold, less ambitious, less passionate, less you. Why are you so intense? Can't you just be normal? You don't have to take everything so seriously. They aren't asking you to grow. They are asking you to dim your light so theirs can shine brighter. The moment they ask this of you, they reveal something critical. They don't love or respect the real you. They only tolerate the version of you that fits their needs. Once you start paying attention, you realize that every request is a revelation. Every ask tells a story. Some requests come from a place of love, respect, and genuine connection. Others come from manipulation, control, and self-interest. The key is to listen carefully, not just to what they ask, but to what it means. Because the truth is, people always show you who they are. And when they ask for certain things, they're not just asking, they are revealing. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Trust is one of the most valuable things a person can have, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. Some believe that trust should be given freely, that it should be automatic, that simply knowing someone is enough reason to trust them. Others believe that trust can be forced, that if they ask for it, demand it, or guilt you into giving it, then you must comply. But real trust does not work that way. It is not something you owe. It is not something you can be pressured into giving. Trust is earned, not demanded. When someone demands trust, what they are really saying is, I don't want to put in the effort to prove myself. They want the benefits of trust without the responsibility of being trustworthy. They want access to your confidence, your belief, your loyalty, without doing the work to show they deserve it. This is why the most untrustworthy people are often the ones who insist on being trusted the most. They do not ask for it, they expect it. They do not prove themselves, they assume they already have your trust. And the moment you hesitate, the moment you ask for proof, they make you feel guilty for questioning them. But trust is not built on words. It is built on actions. It is not about what someone says, but what they do over time. People reveal their character in how they handle small things, in how they treat others when no one is watching, and whether they keep their word when it is inconvenient. Someone who is truly trustworthy does not need to demand trust because they naturally earn it through consistency, honesty, and integrity. The ones who demand trust are often the ones who have the most to hide. They become defensive when questioned, they avoid accountability, they turn the focus back on you, making you feel like the problem for not trusting them blindly. Why don't you trust me, they ask, as if the simple act of questioning is an attack. But real trust does not fear questions. Real trust welcomes accountability. Someone who is truly honest does not need to convince you with words. They show you through their actions. One of the biggest mistakes people make is giving trust too quickly, believing that because someone is kind, charming, or familiar, they must be worthy of trust. But trust should never be automatic. Just because someone is close to you does not mean they have your best interests at heart. Just because someone smiles at you does not mean they will protect you. And just because someone tells you they are trustworthy does not mean they actually are. Trust is something that must be tested. It must withstand difficulty, hardship, and time. It is easy to appear trustworthy when everything is going well, but real trust is proven in moments of struggle. When mistakes are made, when temptation arises, when someone is given the chance to do wrong and chooses to do right instead. Trust is about seeing someone's true nature, not just their best version. Some people will try to rush trust. They will push you to confide in them, to rely on them before they have earned it. They will say things like, "You can trust me, I promise," or "I would never hurt you," before they have even proven themselves. But trust does not work that way. It is not built in a day. It is not built through promises. It is built through actions repeated over time. There comes a time when you have to decide what matters more, your own peace or someone else's convenience. Too often, people expect you to sacrifice your well-being just to make their lives easier. They don't ask if it's fair. They don't care if it drains you. They just assume you'll do it because it benefits them. But the truth is, your peace is not something you should trade away just to keep someone else comfortable. There will always be people who expect you to be available at their convenience. They want your time, your energy, your support, but only when it suits them. They never consider what it costs you. They assume that because you've said yes before, you'll always say yes. They act as if their needs should come before your own, as if your peace is a small price to pay for their comfort. And if you dare to set a boundary, they make you feel guilty for putting yourself first. But here's what they don't understand. Your peace is not selfish. Your peace is survival. It is what keeps you grounded, what allows you to function, what gives you clarity and strength. The people who truly respect you will never ask you to sacrifice your peace just to make things easier for them. They will never expect you to carry burdens that aren't yours to bear. You have to ask yourself, how many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you stayed in conversations, situations, or relationships that drained you just because walking away would have been inconvenient for someone else? How many times have you ignored your own exhaustion just to keep someone else happy? And for what? Did it ever make things better for you? Or did it just teach people that they could take from you without giving anything in return? The truth is, when you always put others first at the expense of your peace, you teach them that your well-being is optional. You teach them that your time is theirs to claim, that your energy is theirs to drain, that your boundaries are meant to be pushed. And once they get used to that, they will never stop. The more you give, the more they expect. The moment you try to take your peace back, they act as if you've betrayed them. Not because you actually have, but because they never saw your peace as something valuable in the first place. But you don't owe anyone your constant availability. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time, your emotions, or your energy. The people who truly value you will understand when you say no. They will respect your space. They will support your need for rest, for boundaries, for solitude. And the ones who get angry, the ones who guilt trip you, the ones who make you feel like protecting your peace is an offense, those are the ones who were only ever interested in what they could take from you. Some people will only love you as long as you are useful to them. They will keep you around as long as you make their lives easier, as long as you agree with them, as long as you never challenge them. But the moment you start prioritizing yourself, the moment you start bending over backward for their convenience, they will show you their true colors. And that is a blessing, because the people who truly care for you will never resent you for choosing peace. They will never punish you for taking care of yourself. At some point, you have to ask yourself, who is benefiting from my exhaustion? Who is comfortable while I am drained? Who expects me to carry their weight while ignoring my own struggles? And why am I allowing it? Because the moment you realize that your peace is worth more than their convenience, everything changes. You stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. You stop apologizing for needing space. You stop explaining yourself to people who are never listening in the first place. You deserve to live in a way that doesn't leave you constantly depleted. You deserve relationships that don't demand you to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. You deserve to wake up without the weight of someone else's expectations suffocating you. Your peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And the moment you stop letting people take it for granted, you take back control of your life. So let them be inconvenienced, let them be upset, let them call you selfish if they must, but never trade your peace just to make someone else's life easier. Because at the end of the day, it's not their job to protect your peace. It's yours. And the sooner you recognize its value, the stronger you become. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. It grows naturally, without force, without manipulation, and without pressure. But too often, people enter relationships where one person starts making unhealthy demands right from the beginning. These demands may seem small at first, little requests, minor expectations, but over time, they reveal a deeper problem. A relationship that begins with pressure, control, or unrealistic expectations is not a healthy one. No matter how much love is promised, no matter how many sweet words are spoken, when someone starts a relationship by demanding too much, it is a warning sign of what is to come. True connection does not require you to sacrifice your well-being for someone else's approval. It does not ask you to prove your loyalty through obedience or blind trust. It does not force you to meet unrealistic expectations or surrender your identity just to make the other person happy. When a relationship starts with unhealthy demands, whether emotional, physical, or mental, it creates a foundation of control rather than partnership. And control is not love. Some people disguise their demands as normal or expected in a relationship. They say things like, if you really loved me, you would do this, or this is just how relationships work. But love should never require guilt, obligation, or pressure. If someone truly values you, they will not demand that you give up your personal space, your friendships, your dreams, or your peace just to make them feel secure. Love does not come with conditions that strip away your individuality. One of the first red flags in an unhealthy relationship is when one person begins to control the other's time, choices, or behavior. They may insist that you spend all your time with them, cutting you off from other people. They may try to dictate what you wear, what you say, or even how you think. They may expect you to prioritize their needs above your own, even when it comes at your own expense. A healthy relationship is about balance, not control. The moment one person starts making demands that disregard the other's well-being, the relationship becomes one-sided. Another dangerous demand is the expectation of blind trust. Trust is something that is built over time through consistent actions, honesty, and respect. But some people enter relationships expecting instant trust without earning it. They get angry when questioned, frustrated when boundaries are set, and defensive when asked for clarity. They act as if trust should be given just because they ask for it. But real trust does not work that way. It is earned, not demanded. The moment someone tries to force trust rather than build it, they are revealing their true intentions. Emotional demands are another sign of an unhealthy start. Some people expect their partner to be their sole source of happiness, to carry their emotional burdens, or to heal wounds they have not yet healed themselves. They expect constant validation, constant reassurance, constant sacrifice. But a relationship is not meant to be a rescue mission. A healthy relationship is not built on one person saving another. It is built on two people who support each other without unrealistic expectations. No one should be forced to bear the weight of another person's unresolved struggles. Financial demands can also be a red flag. While it is natural to support each other in a partnership, it is not healthy when one person feels entitled to another's resources without contribution or consideration. A relationship should not be transactional, where one person is expected to give while the other only takes. True partnership is about sharing, not demanding. The moment someone starts expecting financial support without discussion, without effort, or without appreciation, the relationship loses its balance. Physical demands are another area where unhealthy expectations often arise. No one is entitled to another person's body, time, or attention. True intimacy is based on mutual desire and respect, not pressure or guilt. If someone starts a relationship by demanding physical closeness, ignoring boundaries, or making you feel guilty for not complying, it is a sign of control, not love. In a healthy relationship, both partners should feel safe, valued, and respected in every aspect of their connection. One of the most powerful lessons in relationships is understanding that love should not require sacrifice of self-worth. The healthiest relationships allow both individuals to grow, to be themselves, and to thrive together, not to be controlled, molded, or pressured into submission. If a relationship begins with unhealthy demands, those demands will only increase over time. What starts as small expectations can turn into full control. What begins as minor pressure can evolve into emotional manipulation. The best relationships do not begin with conditions, rules, or ultimatums. They begin with understanding, respect, and freedom. The right person will never ask you to shrink yourself, to give up what makes you happy, or to ignore your own needs for their convenience. They will not demand trust without earning it, love without reciprocating it, or loyalty without proving they deserve it. A relationship should never start with unhealthy demands, because the moment it does, it stops being about love and starts being about control. And real love does not seek to control, it seeks to uplift, to strengthen, and to build something that stands the test of time. The strongest people understand that boundaries are not barriers, they are safeguards. They are not walls that push others away, but gates that allow the right people in. Boundaries define what is acceptable and what is not, what is healthy and what is toxic. The strongest individuals know that without them, relationships can become draining, work can become overwhelming, and life can become chaotic. That is why they set boundaries early, not as a response to mistreatment, but as a proactive measure to protect their peace, time, and energy. People who set boundaries early do not wait until they are exhausted, mistreated, or taken advantage of before speaking up. They know that prevention is better than correction. Instead of waiting for someone to overstep, they make their limits clear from the start. They communicate their needs with confidence, not fear. They do not apologize for requiring respect, space, or fairness. This is not about being difficult or unkind. It is about self-respect. The strongest people know that if they do not respect their own boundaries, no one else will. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear losing relationships or opportunities. They worry that saying no will make them seem selfish, uncooperative, or unkind. But the strongest individuals understand that a relationship that requires the sacrifice of self-respect is not a relationship worth keeping. They do not compromise their values just to please others. They know that the people who truly value them will respect their limits, while those who only seek to take advantage will reveal their true colors when faced with a firm boundary. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others, they are about saying yes to oneself. They are an act of self-care. They allow people to protect their time, energy, and mental well-being. The strongest individuals understand that they cannot pour from an empty cup. They do not allow guilt to push them into overcommitting or tolerating behavior that drains them. They know that their energy is valuable and that they have the right to choose how it is spent. In relationships, boundaries are essential for maintaining balance and respect. The strongest people do not allow love, friendship, or family ties to justify disrespect. They do not tolerate manipulation, emotional abuse, or constant one-sided effort. They recognize that healthy relationships are built on mutual understanding, not on one person always giving while the other takes. They are not afraid to walk away from relationships that repeatedly ignore their boundaries. They understand that love without respect is not love at all. At work, boundaries are just as important. The strongest individuals do not allow their jobs to consume their entire lives. They do not feel obligated to be available 24/7 to accept unreasonable workloads or to tolerate toxic environments. They know the difference between dedication and exploitation. They are willing to work hard, but they are not willing to sacrifice their well-being in the name of productivity. They understand that saying no to unfair demands does not make them weak. It makes them wise. One of the most significant benefits of setting boundaries early is that it eliminates confusion. When people clearly state what they will and will not tolerate, there is no room for misunderstanding. The strongest people do not assume that others will automatically know their limits. They communicate them directly. They do not wait until resentment builds up before speaking out. They do not allow people to repeatedly cross the line before finally reacting. By setting boundaries early, they create relationships and environments that are based on clarity and respect. Boundaries also protect against emotional manipulation. The strongest individuals recognize when someone is trying to guilt trip them into doing something they do not want to do. They do not fall for phrases like, "If you really cared, you would," or "You're the only one who can help me." They understand that manipulation is not love, and obligation is not a reason to ignore their own needs. They do not allow others to use their kindness against them. Instead, they stand firm in their decisions, knowing that true relationships are built on mutual respect, not emotional pressure. Some people mistake boundary setting for selfishness, but the strongest individuals know better. They understand that boundaries actually improve relationships because they prevent resentment, burnout, and misunderstandings. They allow people to give from a place of abundance rather than exhaustion. They create space for genuine connection rather than forced obligation. They make sure that their kindness is not mistaken for weakness, and their willingness to help is not exploited. Setting boundaries early is an act of self-respect. The strongest people do not wait for others to grant them permission to protect their peace. They do not wait for problems to arise before establishing limits. They take control of their lives by defining what is acceptable and what is not. They recognize that it is not their job to make everyone happy at their own expense. They know that the people who truly care about them will respect their boundaries, and those who do not were never meant to stay. In a world that constantly demands more, the strongest individuals refuse to be drained. They understand that their time, energy, and well-being are worth protecting. They do not allow fear, guilt, or pressure to dictate their choices. They set their boundaries early, not to push people away, but to ensure that the right people stay. And in doing so, they create a life that is not just full, but fulfilling. In the end, setting boundaries early is not about shutting people out. It's about ensuring the right people stay. The strongest individuals understand that their time, energy, and well-being are worth protecting. They refuse to let guilt, fear, or obligation dictate their choices. They recognize that true relationships are built on mutual respect, not manipulation or one-sided sacrifice. When you set boundaries early, you create a life of clarity, peace, and fulfillment. You teach others how to treat you by showing them what you will and will not tolerate. The people who truly care will respect your limits, and those who don't will walk away, revealing that they were never meant to stay. So stand firm, protect your peace, and remember, boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. Thank you for your time, and I hope this message empowers you to set the standards you deserve in your life.